Welcome back. When you think about university students, the stereotypical student may come to mind: young, career-oriented, but learning doesn't stop after you complete your degree. In fact, the University of Miami's Osher Lifelong Learning Institute is based on the principle that lifelong learning is an integral part of healthy aging. Noreen Fry, director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, is here to explain. Thank you so much, Noreen, for being here.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
So what makes the University of Miami Osher Lifelong Learning Institute unique?
Well, you know, I asked some of my students to help me think about what I might talk about, and it's not necessarily that it's unique, because there's 122 Osher Lifelong Learning Institutes across the country, and the focus is to provide educational programs, social get-togethers, to keep people engaged and connected with one another and the world. What makes it unique maybe, though, is between what it is as an educational program and your typical senior center. A senior center offers social interaction, but it offers lighter programming, not necessarily educational academic programming. So I think that might be what makes it unique.
And you've got a mix, though, because you've got computer classes.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you've got other. We were there when we had a. I'm not sure if it was American history or what type of history, but Charles Darwin was there in the flesh. I mean, tell me about that class and how wonderful it was to see how this professor was getting students involved.
Yeah. That particular instructor is Robert Dawson, and he's been doing this, I think, for most of his life. Leonardo da Vinci is his #1 character. When he first came into the building to teach for the first day, he stood in front of me, and I was like, I know I deal with seniors, but this is a little stretch. So he, it's a living history. So he's done Darwin and Da Vinci and Christopher Columbus, and all the students came out and have said this is just the most wonderful class, because it's not somebody talking at you, it's not your typical lecture, and we have many bright instructors who do lectures and engage our audience.
So do you think these different teaching methods are also what add to the success of the program?
That's a great question. Certainly this program with Robert has just been astounding. Yeah, it's entertaining. You're getting information and you don't know about it. We do have some wonderful professors who come off the campus and instruct, and our students are generally blown away because things that they don't know. In fact, we have someone teaching this morning who chases hurricanes and tornadoes. It's just all about the weather, and their enthusiasm and their energy translates to a wonderful class.
Tell me about the other classes that are offered there.
Well, we have an assortment of lecture classes, so we have about 9 of those a week, and they're in the morning and in the afternoon. No classes on Friday afternoon. We have a literature group. We have a creative writing group. We had something for a while, it was storytelling, sort of like the StoryCorps program, so folks got to put their memoir, so to speak, on a CD and give it to family if they chose to. We have creative classes, acrylics, watercolor, drawing. Digital photography. Our digital photography students tend to get hooked, and then we created special interest groups, which are not your structured class, but a bunch of like photography kids come together who love it and share ideas and help critique each other, learn how to mat. We have Spanish and French, and we have a multitude of computer classes, because it's no matter what we want to believe, you've got to learn the internet, you've got to learn all that good stuff to stay in touch with the universe.
And we were there for a music class as well recently.
One of the lecture classes, and we're doing this regularly, is musicology. So every Friday, it appears, has been the selected day, we have a musicology class, and we change professors every 6 weeks, rotate them. We have a couple of favorites, and I think the one you saw, I'm sure the one you saw, was Dr. Gene Greco, who teaches both at UM and Miami-Dade College. But we call him Happy Boy because he is so in love with his topic. He's just so enthusiastic and passionate about music that we have 70 seats in the room, and we fill 70 seats.
Wow, very nice. And then do seniors receive some sort of recognition or diploma for the class that's been completed?
No, but I'm glad you asked that, because something that's been in the back of my mind is to perhaps do a humanities certificate or a Renaissance certificate, because it might be nice to feel that you have accomplished something. So we might put together, okay, if you take 5 classes in music and art history and literature, then we'll have a certificate. But at this point, we don't.
Okay.
It's a great idea.
And when is your next course? April?
Well, we're finishing up a series right now, and we will then start another series on April 19th and run for 6 weeks. So what we have generally are 6-week sessions, morning and afternoon, and then when we head into summer we do a small 4-week mornings only. So April 19th will be the session that begins next.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Noreen.
Oh,
I
thank
appreciate
you. I enjoyed it.
And then if you would like more information on the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute or any of the classes that are going to be offered, you can call 305-284-6554. You can also go online to www.miami.edu/OLLI. Welcome back. Have you ever had trouble finding an address in Coral Gables? Well, don't worry, you are not alone. The city's street names instead of numbers can be confusing, but as David Alvarez explains, you can find your way if you remember a few simple rules.
That's correct, Belkis. All of us have found ourselves lost at some point driving through Coral Gables, but the key to finding your way isn't memorizing the street names. It's actually looking at the street numbers and doing some simple math. The street system may seem complicated with the Spanish names and white street markers, but getting to know how the streets are set up is the first step to conquering your commute. All of the streets are organized numerically. Using the number of the street will help more than trying to remember street names.
Basically, there's a systematical approach. The city starts at Flagler, which is the 0-100 block, goes all the way south to 144th. From there, we actually go east to west 15 blocks across. We start at Douglas, and from Douglas we go all the way to Red Road. Douglas being the 0-100 block, and systematically the 100, 200, and so on and so forth till you get to Red Road, which is the end of the 1500 block of Coral Gables.
Now that you know how the street numbers work, you can use them to your advantage. If you ever find yourself lost or on a random street, there is a method to help you find your way.
Out of the numeric system, you go back to the basics. You go to the 0-100 on both east and west and north and south. If you're stuck somewhere in between the 1600 block, you just look at the house number, look at the business number, and you know that after every 8th street. For whatever reason, we just don't know. Historically, maybe the way they laid out the county, or even maybe George Merrick had something to do with it at the time. Every 8th block is a major artery that runs east to west, which leads across from the other major arteries, which are Douglas and Red Road.
So let's say you are late for your tee-off time at Granada Golf Course, which is on 24th Street, better known as Coral Way, but you somehow ended up at the corner of Valencia Avenue and Segovia Street. The numbers on the street marker read 2600, so you know that the numbers are increasing going south. You can travel 2 blocks north and arrive at Coral Way, which is the 2400 block, and it is an 8th block. Using that system can help you out if you are lost or stuck in traffic, but always have a backup plan before driving. Knowing these tips, having a plan, and even carrying a map will always get you to your destination safely and quickly. A proven user of this system is the city's fast-responding police department.
Yes, absolutely. Our police officers are evaluated yearly in the performance evaluation as part of knowing the geography and the knowledge of where they're going within the city boundaries. They have to know basically all the names of the streets and all of the numerical system and how it works.
Now, if you would like a map like the one I have right here, you can visit the police department or fire station. You can also go online and download this map at www.coralgables.com. For Coral Gables Now, David Alvarez. Back to you, Belkis.
And that does it for this edition of Coral Gables Now. Thanks for watching Coral Gables Television, and we'll see you next month.